Mind Your Language was once the most light-hearted classroom on British television. But beyond the spotlight, many of its actors drifted into poverty, depression, or deaths that were never clearly explained. What really happened to them after the cameras stopped rolling? Let us explore the stories behind the scenes. Barry Evans as Jeremy Brown. Barry Joseph Evans was born on June 18, 1943, in Guildford, Surrey, England. At the age of 34, he took on the role of Jeremy Brown in 1977, the awkward, gentle English teacher constantly trying to maintain order in a chaotic classroom in Mind Your Language. Jeremy Brown became the soul of the series, and also the public image that remained inseparably attached to Barry Evans for the rest of his life. Behind the hesitant on-screen smile lay a childhood marked by irreversible abandonment. Barry was born out of wedlock, lived with his mother for less than 4 years, then was sent to a children's home and later an orphanage. From that moment on, he never saw his biological mother again. The absence of family love carved a deep emotional void, leaving Barry constantly longing to be loved while simultaneously fearing emotional attachment. His marriage to Judith Tench in 1965 quickly became a collision of unresolved wounds. After only 2 years, the marriage collapsed, leaving behind a young man with no children, no family, and no emotional anchor. After the glory of Mind Your Language, Barry fell into the industry's cruel silence. He was permanently typecast as the naive schoolteacher. Once a television star, Barry descended into alcoholism, with alcohol becoming his only constant companion. Prolonged depression, compounded by a drunk driving arrest in 1996, revealed that he had completely lost control of his life. On February 9, 1997, Barry Evans was found dead in his living room at the age of 53. The scene was hauntingly quiet. A head injury, a high blood alcohol level, a short will placed on the table, and an old blister pack of aspirin lying on the floor. His death was recorded with an open verdict, leaving no clear explanation. He was cremated at Golders Green Crematorium. His net worth was estimated at around $500,000, most of it drained away during years of unemployment and alcohol addiction. Dino Shafi as Ali Nadim. Dino Shafi, born Gholam D. Shafiq, was born on March 21, 1930, in Dhaka. In 1977, at the age of 47, he portrayed Ali Nadim, the gentle, awkward Pakistani student whose innocence provided warm laughter in Mind Your Language. To audiences, Ali Nadim was a comforting source of humor. To Dino, the role was a mask concealing a lifetime of endurance. As an immigrant actor, Dino arrived in England hoping for a better life, only to quickly encounter the invisible boundaries of racial discrimination. Both of his marriages ended in failure, not only because of cultural differences, but also due to financial strain, professional instability, and a prolonged sense of not belonging. Childless and deeply isolated after his second divorce in 1975, Dino often expressed the feeling that he belonged nowhere. Despite his television appearances, Dino was repeatedly cast in shallow, stereotypical comedic roles, preventing him from escaping the shadow of the comic character. With unstable income and limited opportunities, he took on odd jobs to survive. Heart disease had been quietly developing since the 1970s, worsened by chronic stress and an unhealthy lifestyle. On March 10, 1984, Dino Shafi suddenly died of a heart attack at his home in London at just 53 years old, only 11 days before his 54th birthday. He passed away beside his fiancée, Leslie Didcock, in a quiet house. His net worth was estimated at around $300,000, diminished by medical expenses and divorces, bringing to a close the life of a man who had brought laughter to millions of viewers. Zara Nutley as Miss Courtney. Zara Nutley was born on August 19, 1924, in Falmouth, Cornwall, England. In 1977, at the age of 53, she took on the role of Miss Courtney, the strict, authoritarian, and cold headmistress of Mind Your Language. The character became the embodiment of power, discipline, and fear within the chaotic evening school. Yet behind those steely eyes was a life of chosen solitude. Zara never married and had no children, choosing the stage and the set as her only family. In her youth, that choice brought freedom and absolute focus. Over time, it became a prolonged silence. During her years working in theater and television series such as Jane Eyre and Tales of the Unexpected, Zara was often the last person to leave the dressing room. She once admitted that when the lights went out, she felt lonely and sad inside her own home. After Mind Your Language, television evolved faster than her age allowed her to adapt. Zara continued to appear in Never the Twain as Aunt Eleanor, still portraying a stern woman and still confined to the same cold authority archetypes. Opportunities became fewer, not because her talent had diminished. Sadly, on October 9, 2016, Zara Nutley passed away in Uckfield, East Sussex, at the age of 92, after a long period of declining health. There was no noisy funeral, no embrace of immediate family. Her estimated net worth was around $800,000, accumulated through a lifetime of disciplined and frugal work. Ricardo Montes as Juan Cervantes. Ricardo Montes was born on September 20, 1923, in Gibraltar. In 1977, at the age of 54, he played Juan Cervantes, the innocent, sincere Spanish student of Mind Your Language, and one of the very few characters who completed the full run of the series. Juan always smiled, but Ricardo's life was built on silent fractures. His youth was torn apart by war, as his Jewish family was forced to flee during World War II. That sense of displacement followed him to England, where he changed his name, his accent, and even his identity in order to stand in front of the camera. He married early and had children and grandchildren, yet repeatedly endured the deaths of his siblings from illness, each loss a quiet cut. His career was also defined by endurance. Despite appearances in The Saint, The Avengers, and Doctor at Sea, Ricardo was almost always cast in stereotyped, humor-driven Spanish roles. Still, he continued working relentlessly, from television to advertising. In his later years, Ricardo entered a long battle with cancer. His body grew frail, but he did not abandon his craft until his final role in Mamma Mia, 2008. On October 26, 2010, he passed away at his daughter's home in Marbella at the age of 87 after a prolonged illness. His estimated net worth was around $600,000, reflecting a lifetime of steady, persistent labor. Albert Moses as Ranjit Singh. Albert Moses was born on December 19, 1937, in Gampola, Kandy, Sri Lanka. In 1977, at the age of 40, he took on the role of Ranjit Singh. The Indian student who spoke broken English constantly struggled with communication, yet remained sincere and polite in Mind Your Language. This role brought his name wider recognition in Britain after many years of wandering and uncertainty. Albert Moses's personal life was marked by prolonged breakdowns. He married, but the marriage ended in divorce. The identity of his wife was never made public. After the divorce, Albert became estranged from his children, and those family relationships were not repaired for many years. This caused significant psychological pressure, especially as he lived far from his homeland and lacked a family support network in Britain. Albert was forced to manage both his finances and emotional well-being on his own, confronting a prolonged sense of isolation. Professionally, Albert Moses continually faced barriers due to his Sri Lankan background. Although he had worked in Indian cinema, participated in film production, and later traveled to Africa to work on documentary projects, once in Britain, he was largely limited to supporting roles. He appeared in artistically respected productions such as Freeway at the National Theatre, Phaedra Britannica alongside Diana Rigg, and Long March to Jerusalem at the Watford Theatre. After Mind Your Language, opportunities gradually diminished, preventing his career from achieving long-term stability. Sadly, Albert Moses passed away on September 15, 2017, in London, at the age of 79. He was buried at St. Andrew's Church in Gampola, Sri Lanka, the place of his birth. His estimated net worth was around $400,000, reflecting a long career that never provided proportional financial security. Robert Lee as Taro Nagazumi. Robert Lee, born Robert Ya Fu Lee, was born in 1913 in Tianjin, China. In 1977, at the age of 64, he played Taro Nagazumi, the polite, composed Japanese student with the demeanor of a businessman in Mind Your Language. This role became the one audiences remembered most from his career, which spanned more than 4 decades. Robert Lee never married and had no children. In a 1984 interview, he confirmed that he chose to remain single because he believed marriage carried too great a responsibility. This decision resulted in him living alone for many years in Hampstead, London. As he aged and his health declined, Robert had no immediate family members in Britain to care for him, forcing him to manage daily life and medical treatment on his own during his final years. Robert Lee's career was steady, but severely limited by age and the narrow range of Asian roles available to him. Despite his strong academic background, holding a BA in history from Trinity College, Cambridge, he was mostly cast in supporting roles when productions required East Asian characters. He appeared in works such as You Only Live Twice, 1967, The Avengers, The Chinese Detective, The Bill, and the film Half Moon Street, 1986. However, once he entered his 60s, the number of roles declined sharply, and he largely withdrew from the industry as his health weakened. Sadly, Robert Lee passed away on December 1, 1986, in Hampstead, London, at the age of 73, after 2 years of declining health. The specific cause of death was not disclosed. His estimated net worth was around $200,000, sufficient for a modest life, but leaving no lasting financial security. Tommy Godfrey as Sid. Tommy Godfrey, born Thomas Frederick Godfrey, was born on June 20, 1916, in Lambeth, South London, England. In 1977, at the age of 61, he appeared as Sid, the rough, gruff, but familiar school caretaker in Mind Your Language. The role came late in his life, after he had already passed through nearly an entire lifetime of performance. Tommy's path began in variety entertainment, as a tap dancer, a mime performer, and later a solo comedian. He made his living through touring stages and short-term engagements. Before appearing in Mind Your Language, Tommy had featured in numerous television and film productions such as Passport to Pimlico, 1949, The Adventure of Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother, 1975, and most notably Love Thy Neighbor, where he became a recognizable supporting face. These roles allowed him to survive in the profession, but they rarely provided long-term security. As British television evolved, roles for older actors became increasingly scarce. Tommy continued accepting small parts, in Till Death Us Do Part, Steptoe and Son, On the Buses, Z-Cars, and The Avengers, just enough to maintain steady work. Even in his 60s, he still had to work consistently, dependent on unpredictable casting schedules. The physical exhaustion accumulated from decades of labor-intensive stage work took its toll. Sadly, Tommy Godfrey passed away on June 24, 1984, in London, at the age of 68, just 4 days after his birthday. The cause of death was natural. His estimated net worth was around $250,000, a figure that reflects a lifetime of perseverance without fair compensation. Iris Sadler as Gladys. Iris Sadler, born Iris Maud Sadler, was born on March 22, 1908, in Forest Gate, London, England. In 1978, at the age of 70, she played Gladys, the elderly tea lady, quiet but consistently present in Mind Your Language. This role marked her late career, at a time when age itself had become a major barrier. Iris's career spanned stage and television, with a slow but steady working rhythm. Before Mind Your Language, she appeared in film in Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter, 1968, and later took on television roles such as Tales of the Unexpected. Toward the end of her life, she also appeared in Little Dorrit, 1987. Iris's roles were rarely central, but they demanded discipline and endurance well into her 70s. As the entertainment industry shifted, opportunities for older actresses narrowed rapidly. Iris continued working whenever possible, mainly to sustain income and maintain her professional routine. Old age arrived alongside diminishing work, and her pace of life slowed with declining health. Sadly, Iris Sadler passed away on January 12, 1991, in Wellingborough, Northamptonshire, at the age of 82. The cause of death was natural. Her estimated net worth was around $150,000, reflecting a career marked by modest financial returns. Pixen Lim as Chung Soo Lee. Pixen Lim, born Lim Phaik Seng, was born on September 15, 1944, in Penang, then British Malaya. In 1977, at the age of 33, she played Chung Soo Lee in Mind Your Language, a diligent, serious Chinese student navigating a Western environment. The character was both humorous and revealing of cultural tension. Yet Pixen's youth was marked by a courageous departure. Despite her family's opposition, she moved to England at the age of 16 to study acting. Early roles such as a nurse in Emergency Ward 10 and Chin Lee in Doctor Who made her the most familiar Chinese face on British television throughout the 1970s and 1980s. However, that success came at a cost. She was repeatedly asked to exaggerate accents and repeat stereotypes. Pixen married screenwriter Don Houghton in 1968 and had a daughter, Sarah Houghton. The marriage ended before Don's death in 1991, leaving her to shoulder single motherhood while continuing her career. Even so, she did not withdraw. Pixen went on to appear in Spearhead, Little Britain, and films such as Johnny English Reborn, and became especially known for her dark narrative voice in the Dark Souls game series. Sadly, Pixen Lim passed away on June 9, 2025, in Ludlow, Shropshire, at the age of 80 after battling cancer. Her estimated net worth was around $600,000, accumulated through a lifetime of persistent work. Jamila Massie as Jamila Ranja. Jamila Massie was born on January 7, 1934, in Simla, Punjab, then part of British India. In 1977, at the age of 43, she played Jamila Ranja in Mind Your Language, a sharp, outspoken Pakistani student who represented an independent South Asian female voice in the adult classroom. The character Jamila was not only a source of humor, but also reflected clear cultural and gender conflicts within the series. Jamila's youth was shaped by migration and loss. She moved to England at the age of 12. Her father, a World War II veteran, remained behind working for the BBC but died early. After this loss, Jamila faced family resistance when she pursued acting, as her mother opposed her studying drama. She was forced to take a roundabout path into the profession, beginning with radio work and small roles. Before Mind Your Language, Jamila appeared in Sink the Bismarck, 1960, and worked extensively across the BBC's multilingual radio programming. Jamila's career confronted discrimination and limited opportunities for Asian actors, yet she did not leave the profession. She continued to appear in Z-Cars, Play for Today, The Jewel in the Crown, Minder, Brookside, and numerous stage productions. On radio, her role as Auntie Satya in The Archers became a lifelong dream fulfilled later in her career. She also co-authored cultural research books with her husband, Reginald Massey, expanding her influence beyond acting. In 2025, Jamila Massie is 91 years old and lives in Llanidloes, Wales, with her husband Reginald Massey. She no longer acts regularly but is still remembered as a pioneering figure for actors of Asian heritage in Britain. Her estimated net worth is around $700,000, accumulated through a long and stable career. George Camiller as Giovanni Capello. George Camiller was born on November 30th, 1942, into an Italian-origin family in Britain. In 1977, at the age of 35, he took on the role of Giovanni Capello in Mind Your Language, a handsome, confident Italian student who embodied Latin charm, serving as both comic relief and a lively counterbalance in Jeremy Brown's classroom. Giovanni was the type of character who always spoke more than necessary, yet he brought a vibrant rhythm to the class. Before Mind Your Language, George Camiller received formal training at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, studying alongside contemporaries such as Tony Robinson and Bruce Robinson. He appeared early in British film and television projects and shared the screen with major names including Omar Sharif and Anthony Quinn. After the series ended, Camiller's career did not collapse but slowed noticeably. He continued working in smaller British films, television, and theater, though he appeared less frequently in the public eye. Being closely associated with the charming Italian archetype made it difficult for him to access more introspective or serious roles. Gradually, Camiller chose a quiet life, stepping away from the spotlight without fanfare. In 2025, George Camiller is 83 years old and lives in Hampstead, London. He has withdrawn from the regular pace of the entertainment industry, but is still remembered as the iconic Italian face of Mind Your Language. His estimated net worth is around $500,000, reflecting a steady but understated career. Kavor Malikian as Maximilian Papandreous. Kavor Malikian was born on June 2, 1943, in Diyarbakir, Turkey, into a family of Armenian origin. In 1977, at the age of 34, he played Maximilian Max Papandreous in Mind Your Language, a Greek working-class student whose confrontational humor put him in direct opposition to the teacher and other classmates. Max was a character who generated laughter while also reflecting the defensive psychology of immigrants. However, Kavor's childhood was marked by separation and deprivation. He was sent to the Karagosian orphanage and later educated at a religious seminary, with the expectation that he would become a priest because his family could not afford further schooling. It was the small seminary stage that opened an escape. Kavor discovered his acting talent when he performed Richard III in English. A scholarship to England completely changed the course of his life, bringing him to Rose Bruford College, where he was trained in both acting and teaching. After Mind Your Language, Malikian did not become trapped in sitcom roles like many of his co-stars. He went on to build an international film career with more substantial roles, from Midnight Express to Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, in which he played Kazim, a serious, dark character entirely opposite to Max Papandreous. Even so, this path was far from easy. He narrowly missed roles many times due to language barriers, prejudice tied to his background, and the realities of migration. In 2025, Kavor Malikian is 82 years old, living between England and Turkey, continuing to teach and participate in cultural projects when possible. He has been married to Maida Kupelian since 1965 and has 2 children. His estimated net worth is around $1 million, reflecting a lifetime of perseverance through poverty, displacement, and prejudice. Kavor Malikian is not only the comedic Max Papandreous, he is proof of a long journey taken to stand firmly in the international artistic world. Francois Pascal as Daniel Favre. Francois Pascal was born on October 14, 1949, and grew up between Mauritius, London, and Paris. In 1977, at the age of 28, she played Danielle Favre in Mind Your Language, a gentle, innocent French student in the classroom. Danielle brought a soft tone to the series, balancing the class's noise with clarity and emotion. Before the series, Francoise experienced a turbulent period in cinema. She appeared in notable films such as There's a Girl in My Soup, opposite Peter Sellers, Jean Rollin's The Iron Rose, and Les Raisins de l'Amour. Constant movement between England and France expanded her opportunities, but also left her career unstable. She became typecast as the innocent French girl, narrowing the range of roles available to her afterward. Francoise's personal life was marked by emotional upheaval. She had a son, Nicholas Johnson, with actor Richard Johnson in 1976 during an unstable relationship. A series of failed romances, combined with professional pressure, gradually pushed her away from mainstream acting. From the 1980s onward, Francoise shifted toward independent production, choosing to step out of the spotlight in order to retain creative control. In 2025, Francois Pascal is 76 years old, still active as a producer and preparing personal projects through her own company. Her estimated net worth is around $800,000, reflecting a career that was quiet, resilient, and sustained over time. Anna Bergman as Ingrid Svensson. Anna Bergman was born on May 5, 1948, in Sweden, and is the daughter of legendary director Ingmar Bergman. In 1978, at the age of 30, she played Ingrid Svensson in Mind Your Language, a Swedish student who spoke precise, polished English and remained calm within Jeremy Brown's chaotic classroom. Ingrid was a relatively quiet character, yet she provided a clear counterbalance to the clumsiness and emotional excess of the other students. Before appearing on British television, Anna Bergman followed a career path filled with contradiction. Carrying the Bergman name was an advantage, but also a heavy burden. Instead of following her father into art house cinema, Anna appeared mainly in British sex comedies of the late 1970s such as Penelope Pulls It Off, Adventures of a Taxi Driver, Come Play With Me, and What's Up, Super Doc. These roles brought rapid visibility, but they also labeled her and made it difficult to escape a surface-level, sensual image. Her participation in Mind Your Language allowed Anna to reach a broader audience, but it was not enough to redefine her career. She continued to appear in a few mainstream films, such as The Wild Geese, and most notably, Fanny and Alexander, 1982, directed by her own father, a symbolic but brief return. After that, Anna gradually withdrew from the entertainment industry, choosing to step behind the scenes. By 2025, Anna Bergman is 77 years old and retired, living privately and almost completely detached from the spotlight. Her estimated net worth is around $900,000, accumulated during a vibrant but relatively short filmmaking period. The series once made us laugh night after night, but behind that laughter were lives filled with pressure, loneliness, and unseen sacrifices. Which character from Mind Your Language do you feel the most sorrow for? Leave a comment to share your thoughts, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so we can continue exploring the truths hidden behind the stage lights together.